Hi everybody, this is Mikkel, and I'm coming back to you so we can continue our lessons. Little message there at the beginning because, hey, who doesn't need a hug sometimes, right? Okay, now, and I'm trying to get in the habit of doing this because I really want people to learn, and that's why I do it. I enjoy music. I enjoy making music and being creative, and I enjoy it when people want to learn so they can do it themselves. It's great. It's such a it just does things for you that you can't explain until you just do it. So please like, subscribe, hit that button, subscribe, share, hit the little bell button so that you know when I put a new video up and you can go to it. Tell your friends, and do me a favor, please leave me some comments. It helps me to know how I'm doing, and it helps me to know what you're thinking. I can answer questions, or you can say, hey, this didn't make sense, or maybe, hey, you were completely wrong about something. I mean, I'm human. I learned. I'm learning. I'm still learning. So learning is a process that you should always continue to do. So I love hearing from you, and it helps me out a lot. So please do that. And I'll also be letting you know when I have new music out as well, and I'll be doing those kind of things. And there may be some other things on this channel that I might do as well. This kind of my multi-purpose channel is going to have a lot of different things going on. So keep checking back. You'll see what I do here. All right, let's dive right into it. So last time, real quick, we talked about fingering. We talked about your the fingers that you use. We talked about the notation and things like that. So a little bit, remember, right hand. We talked about finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, finger 4, finger 5. We also talked about that you needed what? That you needed finger number 1, number 3, and number 5 to make a triad. Tri means 3, tricycle, triangle, a trident, all these things, 3, all right? 3-finger chord. Chords are 2 or more notes played to make a chord. We talked about that. Now, you say, wait, 2? Yes, you can use 2 fingers and make a 2-note chord. And in case you didn't know this, it's a little bit of knowledge, A 2-note chord is called a dyad. Isn't that neat? Triad, dyad. Cool. Just something to know. It's not important. You probably never use that word again, ever. So it's all right. All right. So, but you're going to mix those up. You mix them up, okay? Now, real quickly, try not to make this confusing, but your left hand. This is my left hand. If you're seeing it in the mirror image, I do apologize. This program is interesting. To me, it's right, but to somebody else, it might be wrong. I don't know. Anyway, if you're using your left hand, your numbering for your left hand fingers, important, also starts with your thumb, just like it does in your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So your numbers on your fingers are the same. That is important when you're doing music off of a sheet of music, because your sheet of music a lot of times will have little numbers over or underneath your notes that are telling you which fingers to play that note with. And the reason they do that is to help you have your fingering in the right position for continuing to play in the easiest way possible. Now, that said, it's not always the easiest way possible. Sometimes you look at it and go, that ain't working. And sometimes it doesn't. But most times, it's very helpful. All right? And I'll show you real quickly what I'm talking about, in case you've never looked at a sheet of music and ever saw that, or you saw the numbers and had no idea, what is that? Why is that number there? What are they saying? What are they saying? It's not a note number. It is a finger number. So I'm going to hold this up here, and I want you to see, if I get my fingers to work right, see that little number right there, that number 2? That's telling me to play this note with my second finger. This is a grand staff. Treble's up here, bass is down here, right hand basically is up here, left hand basically is down here. So it's telling me to play with my left hand using finger number 2. Okay, you see that? That's what it's telling me to do. So that's, and if you go over here, here's 1, that's telling me to play that note with my second finger on my right hand, because this is treble, my right hand, you see. And so, and there's lots of music that does that. And you'll see those little numbers all throughout there, and it's telling you what finger to play, all right? So that's kind of important to know. So when you see music, you realize that's what's going on, okay? Again, it's there to help you. Now, the reason I said it's important for you to understand that, but not get confused about it, and I'll show you with the piano itself, and then it'll make more sense. All right, so the reason I said that is because, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your right hand, and your notes, regardless of where you start, whatever key you're in, that's where you're starting, right? That's where you begin, is whatever key you're in. Make sure it's as square as I can get it. Whatever key you're in, that's where it's going to start. So right now, let's play in the key of C. I'm in the key of C. That means I'm in the C scale. That means C is number 1, right? So I can count that, and as the pitch gets higher, the number gets higher, the same as it does with my hand. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Right? So they go in order. So does the alphabet. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finger 1, note 1. Finger 2, note 2. Finger 3, note 3. Finger 4, note 4. Finger 5, note 5. That's how it works all the way up the board. Now, if I look at my left hand, where did we say number 1 was? Right here. Well, it would be correct if I'm playing C, which is note number 1 of the scale in this key. That is note number 1, and that is finger number 1. Yay! Cool. However, if I'm going to play, remember we talked about 1, 3, 5 for the chord? 1, 3, 5. If I can fold those under again. My fingers don't do that. I don't play like that. I do that so you can see it. I don't actually play that way because that would be very difficult. So 1, 3, 5. All right. Now, if I do the mirror, and I think I said mirror that with this hand. Well, check this out. 1, skip 2. Right. 1, skip 2. But what happens if I do 3 and then do 5? Wait a minute. That is not the same thing. You see that? But that's 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. What's going on? Well, it's not the same because I'm going down the keyboard. Technically speaking, my finger's number 1, my finger's number 3, my finger's number 5, but my fingers are on notes number 4, number 6, and number 8 are back to 1. That's not where I want to be. Remember, I count from the bottom up. 1 goes up the scale. If I go this way, it's like going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going down. So I'm playing positions 1, 3, 5, or notes 1, 3, 5. Okay, with this 1, 3, 5 finger position. So when I'm playing 1, 3, 5, I'm playing notes. If I can get my fingers to cooperate, I'm playing notes 1, 3, 5 with fingers 1, 3, 5. But down here, if I'm going to play the notes 1, 3, 5, I have to count from the bottom up, which would be this one, because it's a C, just like this, octaves. So this is 1. Now I can play note number 3, and I can play note number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm in the 1, 3, 5 position just like I am here. Notice how that matches. And I'm using fingers 1, 3, 5, but I am not using 1 on number 1. I'm using 1 on number 5. So when you're looking at your chord, count with your left hand, count your chord, your 1, 3, 5 from your pinky. Just pretend like it's 1. It's not. Why they didn't do it that way, I don't know. But it's not. I would have done it that way if I was making it. I would have been like, this side is 1, this side is 5, just like your keyboard, keeps it simple. I would have done it that way, but they didn't, so there you are. Okay, whoever created it didn't do it that way, and there you are. Makes sense to me, but, you know, who am I? Okay, so anyway. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Remember, down here, 1, 3, 5 is notes. 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 Key, in the key of, in whatever key you're in, the beginning note, 1, 3, 5, for the chord. Each chord has its own 1, 3, 5, by the way. So, chord C. That's 1, 3, 5 for the chord of C. 1, 3, 5. I'm using that position. If I move up to the D, and this is not a D major, it's a D minor, is what it's called, but we'll get into those way down the road. Anyways, here we are, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Still play 1, skip 1, play 1, skip 1, play 1, in case you haven't figured out how to find it. There you go. Play 1, skip 1, play 1, skip 1, play 1. Okay. There's an E. This E is called an E minor. It's not an E major. That's okay. Again, information for down the road. So I'm still doing the 1, 3, 5 finger positions, and on the notes in that position for each chord. So it doesn't change. It's just that remembering that if I'm actually talking about my fingers when looking at music on a sheet, and it says play with number 1, that's this one. Or play with number 2, that's this one. Or play with number 4, that's this one. That's what it's telling you. Okay? And I've done that. I'll be sitting here playing, and I'm looking at the music, and it's going, play G, you know, telling me to play my G with my 4th finger. I'm like, oh, this G. Oh, well, it's 4th finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if my fingers are in the right position, it is the 4th finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. It lines up. That's why they do that. They're trying to keep you lined up. All right? So that's this little thing there, just so you to know how it is. Will you actually be thinking about that or worried about that or using any of that? Probably not. But now you have it. All right? Okay. Let's do the fun stuff. Let's do the fun stuff. Let's do the fun stuff. Yay. Okay. So anyways, let me cover something real quick. This right here. See these 2 fingers? Finger 1, finger 2. You're going to see me do this, so I'm just going to tell you. I do play weird. That's the only way I can say it. I play weird. I play 1, 3, 5 a lot of times with my 2nd finger versus my 3rd finger. I will play 1, skip 1, play 1 with finger 2, and then play either finger 3 for number 5, or finger 4 for number 5, or finger 5 for number 5. I would do that a lot, okay? Now, why do I do that? Part of it is bad training from early on in my life when I didn't know how to play that and I just did whatever felt right. But another part of it too is that I do a lot of octaves. I reach out and I grab a lot of octaves when I'm playing, or a lot of notes that I'm doing up here while I'm hitting notes down here. And it's easier for my fingers for me to keep them like this and do it than to try to put them in the right positions and try, and I can't do it. My fingers just, they don't reach that far. So I do that a lot. So a lot of it's habit, a lot of it's just because it's easier for me to play the way I play. As long as you're playing what you need to play and it sounds right and you're not tripping over your hand, tripping over your fingers, nobody cares. Just so you know, nobody cares. I'm teaching you the correct way so you know. In college, we talked about this, and our wonderful music teachers, they agreed. You learn the rules so you know how to break the rules and still sound good. Okay. So you may see me break the rules a whole lot. Just go with it. All right. Now, I'll teach you how to do that later. All right. So we were talking about playing the chords. Oh, these are 2-finger chords. Where those sound really good is with stuff like, now I just changed keys, by the way. I'm in key of A now. A minor to be exact. 2-finger chord right here. Before I go there, down here, you see me do this a lot. What am I doing? What am I doing? It's simple. You can do this. Do this. I want you to do this. This is simple. I'm playing whatever note, whatever chord I'm playing the first note of that chord, or the one note, all right? So, like right now I'm in A minor, so it's going to be an A. How do I know that? C, D, E, F, G, A, right? So, I'm playing the A, I'm getting the nice bass A, and then, what am I doing up here? What is that? What am I doing up here? Well, if I played it as a triad, play one, skip one, play one, skip one, play one, right? What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you see me doing is taking out number 3. I'm just taking it out, get rid of it. Now I'm playing 1 and 5. 1, 5. That's called a fifth. 1 and 5. It's called a fifth because that's a fifth. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, how hard is that, right? So that's a fifth. And then I'm playing, what I tell you this was, if this is A and this is A, it's an octave because there's exactly 8 between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm playing the octave. So what I'm actually doing down here is I'm playing 1 of this chord. Here's my chord, my A minor. I'm playing 1, right? That's the 1 right here because that's the first note of this chord, so that's 1. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's number 5. Right there, number 5 of that chord. And then I'm going to play the octave, which is right there. And that's basically 1 again. So I'm playing 1, 5, 1. Or 1, 5, 8, some people say. So what does that do? That gives me some nice sounding bass stuff that doesn't sound really muddy, but it sounds really nice. And you'll see me do this, this just kind of undulating between the notes of that chord in 1, 5, and octave. 1, 5 octave. And I do that all over the place. So you'll see that a lot. You can do that. It's very simple. You may have to learn to stretch a little bit, but it gets easier. So when I do that, I can do stuff like this. I'm gonna do a little scale going backwards. So here's my 1, 3, 5, my 1, 5, 1. If I were to hit this note, you'd hear that. See? So it's the same thing. So here I am. So I just went down one note at a time. All right? So you see me oscillating with my 1, 5, and 8, or 1, 5, and 1, my octave. I do a lot of octave stuff. I grew up around disco, okay? So, there you go. So here I am. I just dropped it down a note. Still 1, 5, 1, 5, and 1, or 1, 5, and 8. Still my 1, 3, 5 chord that we talked about. I'm just moving that chord around. I'm not moving anything. You hear all the little sounding stuff? That's just playing with it. Or doing a scale in between. That's all I'm doing, just playing with that, right? That's all that is. That began to sound like something, and it's simple. I mean, it's just 1, 5, and octave, 1, 5, and 1. That's all 1, 5, 1 of each chord, and I'm playing the chords up here. So here's A, G, F, G, A. Or if you want to do the numbers, take a second and figure them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, 1. So I'm in A. So this is 1, right? 1. So if this is 1, then what is that? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I'm going here, then this means this is 7. And what comes before 7? 6. You know how to count backwards, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, there, now you got it, right? So you're at 1, now you're going to go backwards. Remember, there's only 8. So if this is 8, technically speaking, then your next one down is 7. Next one down from 7 is 6. Because remember, we're going down, so the numbers are going down and not up. So you're not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is 1, and then if it starts over again, then that means that this is also the end, and if I go backwards, then I went to the very last note that I would play before that, which would be 7, because after 7 comes 8, and 8 is also 1 in music, on the piano, in music, or actually just in music, period. The 8th is an octave. It is the same as the 1st, so they are considered 1. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I ran out of keys down here. 1. Okay, so a little crash course right there on how that works. Now I did that so when you see me doing that and you're like, what's he doing? You have something to reference. It's like, oh, I know what's going on. Octaves and 5s. And he's just walking it around with the chord. I'm just walking it with the chord. So if I'm playing, get back into C, I do that so your ear goes back to C. So I get back to C. So if I'm going, remember when we were doing C, we were doing 1, 4, 5, 1, then we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and then 5. Remember that? Remember that? Remember that? All right, so I'm just moving that around. Right now, I'm just playing the exact same thing right here. Then 4, then 5, and back to 1. Right? Now I can do that. And I'm just playing with the chord in a rhythmic fashion, having learned some rhythmic fashions, which you just learn out of listening or just practicing, and you can read it, but you can also just listen. Most of you know it because you listen to music all the time. So transferring that down here. And if you don't, you can always just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you build, you get there, you start getting there. All right, but here's the thing. If I play this chord on a piano and I go down to the lower and play it, listen to how muddy it sounds. Right now, this sounds okay. But listen to how it starts getting more garbled and muddy sounding the lower you go. See how muddy that sounds? That sounds really muddy and really kind of garbled. I mean, if you break them up, that's one thing, but if you play them all together, it's really just kind of, just sounds awful. It sounds muddy. So this is another reason why a lot of keyboardists, a lot of piano people will play lower notes, breaking it up into 1, 5 in the octave, or just 1 and 5. This sounds better than 1, 3, and 5. I want you to hear that difference. So here's 1, 3, and 5, the actual chord, 1, 3, 5 for C, the C chord, 1, 3, 5. Now, here's still staying with 1, 3, 5, but I'm taking the 3 out. So now it's just 1 and 5. Much better, right? Much better. Now, if I want to add a little bit of high, just a little bit of high to it to give it some variation besides those two, I can bring in number 8, which is also, quote, number 1 of this chord. So let's bring that in. So I'm going to use a finger that helps me reach to get there, and I'm going to play 1, 5, and 1 again, aka number 8. Now, listen to that. So here's 1 and 5. Now, here's 1, 5, and 1, or 1, 5, and 8. Still sounds good, gives just a little bit of a higher note on there, right there. And what that does when you play with them back and forth, almost gives you a bass walking kind of thing. Isn't that kind of cool? All right, so I do that with each chord that I'm playing, and I just use pinky on the first note of each chord that I'm playing, and that's a nice walk around. Now you can do more than that, but that's a good start. So if I'm playing C, I'm going to play 1, 5, and octave down here while I play the C chord, the 1, 3, and 5 up here. But not at the same time, but I'm going to do something with it. What was our progression? 1, 4, 5? Lock this together. I'm not moving it around. It's just staying the same. 1, 3, 5. I'm doing the same thing essentially with this, just playing with them. 1 is right here, then 4 is right here, and then 5 is right there. And I'm leaving these locked so that they just move along as one whole unit. Now, it may take you time to learn to find your 1, 5, and octave as you move, but if you don't squinch your hand up and stuff like that as you move, you'll get to where you can find it pretty quickly. if you ever get lost, just go back to your 1, 3, 5 position and go, okay, so this is 1, 3, 5, play 1, skip 1, play 1, skip 1. I want this one because that's the octave of that. So take 3 out, grab 5, grab octave, and there it is. Or you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there you are. All right. And real quick, what does that give you the ability to do? Something like this. But not that. That's too slow. That's better. All right, so chord progression 1, 4, 5. Now this is guitars. Listen to how muddy that sounds when I play the whole chord. Sounds muddy. What if I did down here? Ugh, that's horrible. That's why you break it up. Now I can go down here. I'm just playing that 1, 5, 1 or 1, 5, 8 rhythmically. And then you just play the chords. Lock them in. There's that 2-finger thing. Sorry. Just playing with the notes that are in the chord already. That's all you're doing. I end it with 1 up high. And that's all there is to it. I took a lot of time explaining some things, so we're not going to get really deep into that today. On the next video, we're going to skip all that back explanation, go back to this video or the one before it, because we're going to dive into using that to create some songs and to kind of do some things. And I want you to play along is what I want you to do. I want you to grab your keyboard and, try to play along a little bit. So we're going to kind of do those things. If the tuning doesn't match up, I have my keyboard tuned to a different frequency that I like a lot better. And you can look up some stuff if you want to learn some things about frequencies. 440 is what everything in the industry is typically tuned to on frequency, 440 hertz. I have mine tuned to 432, and there's a big reason for that. Do some research on the internet, and it's interesting. What I found, regardless of what all the information says about it, is that I like the way it sounds. So it just boils down to I like the way it sounds. I like that little lower frequency on everything. So anyways, if it doesn't match up, that's probably why. I do change my keys a little bit, and there's a way you can do that on keyboard. You can change the key you're in, even though you're actually on playing in different notes, things like that. So if it doesn't match up, don't worry about it. I want you to get the positions and hear it for yourself on your own instrument, yourself doing it. Follow along, rewind it, do it again, rewind it, do it again, rewind it, do it again. Have some fun with it, okay? And then give me some comments. Let me know if that's working for you. Let me know if you get stuck and need a little help or something. I'll be glad to go over something again. All right, guys, thank you. I know this was longer than normal, but I hope that it explained a lot, and I hope that you have a good time practicing, and I will see you on the next one. Please do like, subscribe, share, hit the button so that you know when I put new videos up, and tell people. Tell people about it. Leave me comments. Let's have a good time. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And I really, really do hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening or day or morning or whatever time of day it is for you. All right. Bye now. And that's the keyboard. I like this keyboard.